From a goalkeeper faking his own death to Ronaldo diving against farmers, these are the 33 times football players were caught cheating. And first, a guy literally faked his own death on live TV. During a match between Timu Barcelona and Atlético Nacional, Barcelona's goalkeeper Máximo Banguera took one look at a Nacional striker running down on goal and decided the only logical solution was to completely wipe him out. But as soon as he spotted the referee walking over with a red card, bro decided to fake his own death. I can't lie, this is genuinely one of the funniest things I've ever seen on a football pitch. But here's the best part. The referee's name was literally Jesus, and Jesus was not about to let him rest in peace.
Stop it.
He brought him back from the dead specifically to send him off. But if you're a Chelsea fan, you might want to look away for this next one. During the match between Arsenal and Chelsea, Declan said F the rulebook and started placing the ball outside the corner circle. It kept happening throughout the entire match until it eventually led directly to a goal.
What's his delivery again? And Arsenal have it in again. Jurien Timber takes control of the London derby. Another set piece.
I guess it's Arsenal's turn now to have an affair with the PGMOL? But while Rice was bending the rules, the next team decided to cheat an entire country.
There can be no doubt about it. This ball has gone out.
During a World Cup qualifier between India and Qatar, the Indian goalkeeper pulled off what he thought was a brilliant save to deny the Qataris an equalizer. Except that a Qatari player had other ideas.
Getting the dodge passed on from the legs of a national legend like Sunil Shetty, and has it rolled in somehow, and the referee says, unbelievable, the referee says play was on, and
the replays showed the ball had clearly crossed the line before it was dragged back in, and with no VAR, the goal stood.
There can be no doubt about it. This ball has gone out. All of it has gone out. That has been pulled back.
Wow.
And that has been scored by Qatar.
Wow.
Cheating your way into an equalizer is a new level of shamelessness I thought I'd never see. To think this is just 3 out of the 33 cheating moments we've got lined up. You're in for some rude shocks, because still to come is a man who turned into Dracula, a player who ruined Turkey's World Cup, and a moment that robbed Africa of a piece of football history. But before we get to those, our next player found the sneakiest way to win a ball without even touching his opponent.
Now this one might surprise you. See,
with his team about to concede, Harry Arter shouted, "Leave it," and the guy actually stopped because he thought it was his own teammate calling for the ball.
In towards Amrabat, who's got in behind the Bournemouth defence. This is Shalaba. Oh, he left it.
Leave it, basically.
Yeah.
It's mine.
We've done it.
Now-
It actually should be a foul, you know.
Correct, yeah, it should be a foul, but and I think you can see Chalaba's reaction there. He's not entirely happy about it.
Honestly, if that happened to me, I would have thrown hands immediately. But the next man took acting to a level that would make Hollywood stars jealous. Throughout his career, Neymar has built up quite a reputation as a man who enjoys the ground a little too much. And at the 2018 World Cup, he showed fans just how far he was willing to go.
Here I come. Oh, here I come. Oh.
He got tackled, yes, that part was real. But what followed was a performance so dramatic, so deeply committed, that the internet could not help itself. The memes started flooding in within hours. Then, a group of kids decided to recreate the whole thing. And honestly, their version was just as convincing. Neymar really inspired a generation of simulators, but the next guy took the dramatic performance to an even darker place. During a match between Hamburger and Cologne, Papadopoulos received a challenge, hit the deck, and proceeded to perform so theatrically that it would have made Shakespeare uncomfortable.
Sørensen with his first ever Bundesliga goal. And the goal is given. And Kyriakos Papadopoulos is showed a yellow card into the bargain.
Bro, this is not a stage production. You have not just lost the love of your life. You're a grown man on a football pitch and everyone can see you.
Oh my God. Hell no.
But while he was performing for the cameras, the next guy literally performed a miracle. In a match between Atletico Madrid and Elche, Alvaro Morata beat his marker and was through on goal. Everything was going perfectly, and then he went down, rolling around in what looked like genuine agony. But as soon as the ball hit the back of the net, Morata immediately leapt to his feet and sprinted to celebrate like a completely healthy man who had never felt pain a day in his life.
Morata leaves the defender for dead. Morata, left foot is short, takes a big deflection and will bounce across the line. Morata is down, but Atletico Madrid. Morata quickly gets up to celebrate.
Turns out, a goal really does have magical healing powers. Who knew? But the next guy was literally tackled by ghosts.
What?
With literal seconds left in the match between Liverpool and Crystal Palace, Christian Benteke threw himself to the ground after a challenge from what I can only describe as a ghost.
Opportunity surely. Benteke goes down. And the referee shows not a lot of interest initially on the Liverpool play. And it's a goal. Benteke has come off the bench to win 3 points.
Because the defender did not touch him. Not even close. The man just decided the floor looked comfortable and went down for a nap. I genuinely cannot explain it any other way. But the next moment involves a rule so crazy, even the players had no idea it existed. In a league match between PSG and Nantes, Verratti received a pass from the goalkeeper and did something that looked completely harmless to everyone watching. The referee booked him immediately, and honestly, even I was confused at first. Turns out, there's a rule buried deep in the football rulebook that says if a player deliberately uses a trick to head the ball back to his goalkeeper, it counts as a back pass, and the keeper cannot touch it with his hands. Verratti knew exactly what he was doing and tried to be clever about it. The referee, however, wasn't having it. But the next guy was not trying to be clever at all. He was just hungry. It started in 2010 during an argument between Ajax and PSV players. While everyone else was shouting and pushing, Luis Suarez quietly identified the nearest shoulder, leaned in, and bit Bakal like he had not eaten in 3 days. 3 years later, the demons came back. Different victim, same result.
Sunk his teeth in there, I think. That's what it looks like, anyway.
But then came the 2014 World Cup, the biggest stage in football, millions watching, and Suarez looked at Giorgio Chiellini's shoulder and thought, you know what, why not?
And he headbutted him there, didn't he? Luis Suarez.
Chiellini showed the referee the bite mark on his shoulder, but nothing was done.
Did Suarez apologize?
Of course not. He behaves in a f***ing way, and FIFA allows him to do so because they need the champions to play. They don't have the courage to make the right decisions.
But when FIFA reviewed the incident, they handed him a 4-month ban from all football, 9 international matches, and 100,000 Swiss franc fine.
Luis Suarez is suspended for 9 matches and banned for 4 months from any football-related activity.
I think there has to be an exemplary punishment, and he has to be suspended for the rest of the World Cup, so no one can do this anymore. This is football. You don't bite.
But the next cheat was done by a guy many call the greatest of all time. When Messi was still a young goat carving up defenses for fun, he scored what looked like a perfectly normal header against Espanyol, except it was not a header. The replay showed Messi had used his hand to guide the ball into the net.
Wait a minute!
And the referee bought it completely. The Espanyol players went absolutely crazy trying to convince the official, but he was not listening. Incidents like this are exactly why someone eventually had to invent VAR. And if Messi can get away with cheating, you better believe Ronaldo will be doing the same thing. Heading into the match between Portugal and Luxembourg, this was supposed to be a routine match for Cristiano Ronaldo and his teammates. After all, Luxembourg was a team of farmers, plumbers, and part-time footballers. Portugal raced into a 4-0 lead, and everyone relaxed. Then, in the second half, Ronaldo went on a run, felt a slight breeze, and threw himself to the ground like he had been shot by a sniper.
What the hell?
And when the internet got hold of the footage, they completely roasted him. Getting mocked globally for diving against Luxembourg might be the most embarrassing thing that has ever happened to a player of his level. But what comes next makes Ronaldo's dive look like child's play. It's the 2010 World Cup quarterfinal, Ghana versus Uruguay. Ghana is 90 seconds away from becoming the first African nation to reach a World Cup semifinal, a moment that would have changed football history on an entire continent. With the ball heading into an empty net in the final seconds of extra time, Suarez used his hand to keep it out, got sent off, and left Asamoah Gyan to step up and win it from the spot. Unfortunately, Gyan hit the crossbar, and Luis Suarez celebrated on the touchline like he had done something heroic. To this day, he remains the most hated footballer in the entire country of Ghana, and honestly, fair enough.
I don't say they apologize about that because the Ghana player missed a penalty, not me. It's not my fault because I don't miss the penalty.
But do not go anywhere, because what is coming in our top 20 is going to make everything you've seen so far look like a joke. We've got a goalkeeper throwing balls onto the pitch, a referee who got completely played, and a cheat so elaborate it involved an entire national team working together. Stick around because this list is just getting started. But first, one goalkeeper came up with the most creative solution to a problem. After a terrible clearance left him completely stranded, Justin Bijlau grabbed a spare ball and threw it onto the pitch. And it worked! Genuinely have to respect the creativity even if the logic is completely unhinged. But the next keeper decided to cause damage in a more sinister way.
Makes the save. It stays 0-0.
After his team conceded a silly penalty, Marvin Hitz knew he needed every advantage he could get. So while the referee was not looking, he walked over to the penalty spot and started quietly destroying it with his boot.
Just watch what Hitz is doing here. He's just trying to kick up the ground a little bit by that penalty spot. Hitz makes the save. It stays 0-0. Modeste went for that corner and he slipped.
It looked completely harmless until the striker ran up, slipped on the ruined surface, and dragged his penalty wide. That's not goalkeeping, that is sabotage.
War nicht so schön, wenn man es im Nachhinein sieht, aber in so einem intensiven Spiel mit so hitzigen Zuschauern macht man manchmal Sachen, die man für sich nicht kennt und ja, klar, ich würde es nicht mehr machen.
But the next man took the art of faking injury to a level that nobody has ever reached before or since. During a match between Italy and Belgium, Ciro Immobile hit the deck after a challenge and started performing. But while he was lying there supposedly in agony, his teammate Nicolo Barella scored a wonderful goal. As soon as he saw the ball go in, instantly Immobile was on his feet, sprinting to celebrate. Genuinely, what's the medical term for being healed by a goal? Because this has happened twice now in this video. But the next dive makes Immobile look like an amateur. During a match between PSG and Gamba Osaka, Neymar made a darting run into the box, felt absolutely nothing, and threw himself to the ground anyway. The replay confirmed the defender never even came close to touching him. Not his foot, not his ankle, not even his laces. Neymar simply decided he was going down and committed to it fully. Truly, the man deserves a shelf full of Oscars.
Neymar.
But while this was all fun and games, the next moment ruined the 2018 Champions League final. It's the 2018 Champions League final. Real Madrid versus Liverpool. The best teams on the planet going head-to-head for club football's ultimate prize. 3 minutes in, Sergio Ramos decided the best way to win was to make sure Mohamed Salah could not play.
UEFA Champions League. Salah. He's crying. He's out.
He grabbed Salah's arm, twisted it, and used his full body weight to drag him to the ground in a way that looked accidental, but absolutely was not. Salah left the pitch in tears with a dislocated shoulder. Without their best player, Liverpool fell apart, and Real Madrid won the trophy. Ramos celebrated like a man who'd won it fairly.
The bathroom, I was crying in the bathroom because I want to start the game, I want to play. But in the meantime, I know that I'm not fit at all to play. But in one moment, like, disappeared, it's so difficult. It's so difficult.
But taking out your opponent's star player in a Champions League final is not victory, it's cowardice. But what comes next will have you rolling on the floor, literally. In a match between Ajax and Feyenoord, Antony went down clutching his leg like he had just been hit by a car. Everyone in the stadium knew he was faking. The Feyenoord manager knew. The ball boys knew. Even his own captain apparently knew, because he walked over and shoved Antony to the ground to help him waste more time. Unfortunately, the referee had seen enough and pulled out a red card for time wasting. But the next cheating moment was done by Neymar's godfather. During the 2002 World Cup, Turkey gave Brazil a serious game, and the match was tight. But when a Turkish defender kicked the ball against Rivaldo's thigh, Rivaldo grabbed his face and collapsed to the ground, screaming like he had taken a boot to the jaw. the referee sent the Turkish defender off. Brazil won the game, and the football world erupted in outrage. FIFA reviewed the case after the tournament and fined Rivaldo $5,000 for simulation. It makes complete sense that people call him the spiritual father of Neymar. But the next one took cheating to a whole different level. Barcelona needed to overturn a first-leg deficit against Inter Milan in the 2010 Champions League semi-final. Everything was on the line, and Sergio Busquets decided that the most efficient path to victory ran straight through the referee. When Thiago Motta's hand accidentally grazed his neck, Busquets hit the deck and stayed down like a man who had been knocked unconscious. But as he lay there, he opened one eye to check if the referee had bought it. Motta was sent off for a foul that barely happened, and Barcelona had their numerical advantage handed to them on a plate. Unfortunately for Busquets and Barcelona, the team on the other side of that semi-final was managed by Jose Mourinho. Inter parked the bus, absorbed everything Barcelona threw at them, and knocked them out anyway.
A special success for the special one. Victory over the reigning champions whose anthem...
Sometimes karma works fast, but the next cheat was betrayed by his hairline. In March 2024, the Cameroonian Football Federation dropped a bombshell and announced the suspension of 62 players for alleged identity fraud. Among them was Wilfred Nathan Douala, a teenager who was part of the AFCON squad. And although he didn't play, there were concerns that a 17-year-old kid had such a hairline. But what comes next happened in a North London derby and started something that Arsenal fans are still benefiting from today. During a match between Arsenal and Tottenham, Ben White was spotted on camera casually trying to undo the Spurs goalkeeper's gloves while waiting for a corner kick. It looked like a harmless prank at first, until it became clear that the goalkeeper was so distracted trying to fix his glove that he completely lost focus on the corner. This was the very beginning of the demonic corner kick era that Arsenal supporters have been enjoying ever since. Genius or cheating? Possibly both. But now that we've made it to the top 10, we're taking things to a whole new level. I'm talking about Barcelona in bed with the referees. A dive so shameless, it turned into complete chaos. And at number 1, the biggest controversy football has ever seen. We will get there eventually, because I gotta introduce you to the most shameless player I've ever seen.
Now this one might surprise you. You see,
with Juventus trailing in their Champions League match against Real Madrid, Arturo Vidal was desperate for a way back into the game. So he got his own legs tangled up, fell over his own feet, and immediately wheeled around screaming for a penalty.
Oh my God. Hell no.
For a foul. Oh dear. When he sees the replay, I think he's going to...
The referee said no, obviously, but the sheer audacity of turning your own clumsiness into a penalty appeal is something truly special. And the next man took that same energy and dialed it all the way up. During the Champions League match between Shakhtar Donetsk and Man City, Raheem Sterling produced what many consider the single most disgraceful dive in the history of the competition. No contact, not even close to contact. The defender was stepping a full step away when Sterling launched himself through the air like he had been hit by an invisible force. The referee pointed to the spot. The penalty was given.
No! God, please, no! No!
Yeah, make that 116 charges, please.
Oh, no, listen, there's no blame on Sterling. He's not trying to win a penalty. He just what we would say, but he made a hash of it. It was quite embarrassing.
But the next guy made Maradona look like a rookie. With Stoke City already losing to Arsenal, Peter Crouch rose to meet a perfect cross from the left and guided the ball into the Arsenal net with what appeared to be a clinical header. Except, it was not a header.
Oh, it's a goal! And it's that man Crouch who scored it to give Stoke City hope.
Oh, it's a handball. Oh, it was.
Crouch had used his hand to direct the ball in, and the referee and both assistants missed it completely. He walked away, celebrating with the face of a man who had scored the most legitimate goal of his career. Absolutely zero remorse. But while Crouch got away with it, the next player was caught cheating red-handed. In the 2016 Champions League round of 16, Chelsea visited Galatasaray, confident that their superior team would get the better of their Turkish opponents. This assumption proved accurate as Fernando Torres gave the Blues a deserved first-half lead. But in the second half, Galatasaray improved and deservedly scored the equalizer. The goal gave them confidence as they mounted wave after wave of attack. Seeing that his team was about to concede a goal, Chelsea captain John Terry threw a second ball onto the pitch, denying the Turkish Giants a historic victory. But as embarrassing as this is, it's nothing compared to what happens next. In a match between Leeds United and Nottingham Forest, Leeds needed a win to stay top of the championship table. Forest went ahead through a header, and Leeds threw everything at them, trying to get back into the game. With the game about to come to an end, Kemar Roof literally took matters into his own hands. But if you think that was controversial, the next moment turned an entire stadium into a crime scene. With a few seconds left to the end of the match between Leicester and Watford, Anthony Knockaert turned into an Olympic swimmer just to win his side a penalty.
Stronger. Knockaert, he's got beyond Briggs, still going. Knockaert goes to ground as Cassetti leads on him. Penalty! That is a massive...
With a place in the playoff final at stake, this was a hugely controversial moment. But boy, were the script writers just starting. Knockaert stepped up to take the penalty and was blocked by a double save from Almunia, which resulted in a crazy end to the game.
Knockaert takes, Almunia saves, Knockaert follows in, Almunia saves again! Absolutely astonishing. Now here come Watford. Forestieri. Here's Hawk! Delay! Do not scratch your eyes! You are really seeing the most extraordinary finish here!
If you didn't get goosebumps, then I dare say you're not a football fan. But the next one was not just controversial, it was an institutional scandal that still makes people angry to this day. The 2009 Champions League semi-final between Chelsea and Barcelona is one of the most debated matches in football history. And once you watch it back, you'll understand exactly why. Early into the game, Michael Essien gave Chelsea the lead. And it seemed like the Blues would take it. But little did they know, they were facing corruption. In the 25th minute, Drogba found himself through on goal, but after being fouled by Eric Abidal, no penalty was given.
Lampard has helped him through, and Drogba controls. He's gone down, the referee looked at his line.
Another shocking moment came when the referee refused to give a penalty for Gerard Piqué's handball. With a few seconds left in the game, Iniesta broke their hearts with the all-important away goal.
But it's Messi, it's Iniesta! And the Chelsea fans cover their eyes in horror. 2 minutes from
The Chelsea players picked themselves up for one last attempt at scoring a goal, but to the dismay of Ballack, the referee refused to give a penalty for this handball. After the final whistle, the Chelsea players couldn't contain their anger.
Players have to keep their heads as well. There's no doubt about that. A referee from Norway is the strongest official you can.
But what happens next almost destroyed the reputation of women's football.
The men's game is embarrassingly cynical. The crybabies dive and pretend to be injured. Women's football is way more hardcore.
Women's football has grown enormously over the years. The quality, the crowds, the global attention, all of it is trending in the right direction. But in 2015, a story broke that threatened to derail all of that progress in one moment. News emerged that 8 members of the Iranian women's national football team were biologically male. According to an Iranian football official, 8 men had been playing in the women's team without completing gender reassignment procedures.
It wants the Asian Football Confederation to conduct a gender verification probe. This debate concerns the gender of an Iranian player. The person you see behind me, her name is Zohreh Khudei. Jordan has now accused her of being a man. She helped Iran defeat Jordan in a qualifier match.
What?
Given that the Iranian team plays in hijabs, identifying players visually was nearly impossible. But one look at the national team photo, and you begin to understand why suspicions were raised. Pretending to be a woman just to play football? That is just embarrassing. But even that doesn't come close to what is waiting at number 2. In a match between Valor FC and HFX Wanderers, Alessandro Rigi smuggled the ball past the goalkeeper and watched it roll agonizingly slow toward the goal line. It was going in, no question, until William Akio appeared from nowhere and somehow managed to kick it out.
What the hell?
Did Akio clear that off the line himself?
I've watched this back more times than I can count, and I still cannot explain what happened physically. It just doesn't make sense. And the more I watch it, the more convinced I am that something deeply suspicious was going on. But nothing, and I mean absolutely nothing, on this entire list comes close to what happened at number 1. The last South American ticket to the 1990 World Cup came down to one final match: Brazil versus Chile. 2 nations on opposite sides of the football pyramid.
1989 qualifiers. During the Brazil-Chile match, astonishing things happened. In that August match, the audience witnessed a real clash, filled with rough tackles and red cards in the truest sense of the word.
For Brazil, a win or draw would be enough to see them through. But the Chileans knew only a win would guarantee their ticket. And against the almighty Brazil at the Maracanã, it was practically impossible. With the odds stacked against them, the Chileans needed something extra to get that win.
Events picked up in the second half, and in the 49th minute, Brazil took the lead. For the following 5 minutes, Chile dominated as they tried desperately to get back into the tie.
Brazil went up 1-0, and it seemed all hope was lost. With time fast running out, Chile knew they needed to deploy Plan B, and the Brazilian fans gave them that opportunity by throwing a flare at Chile's goalkeeper, Roberto Rojas. Bloodied and battered, this became a life-and-death situation. His teammates left the pitch in protest, and with no video to prove what really happened, Brazil knew they were in deep trouble. But in a bizarre stroke of luck, they discovered a photographer had taken pictures of the exact moment the flare landed on the pitch. When the images were processed, it showed the flare didn't touch Rojas, and the injuries he sustained were very suspicious. The evidence showed that this wasn't an accident. It was one of the biggest crimes executed on a football pitch. Rojas confessed that he had a razor hidden in his gloves and cut himself with it to fake the attack. The coach, team doctors, and even his teammates were all part of the plan. This was a well-executed heist to rob Brazil of a place in the World Cup. FIFA hit Chileans hard by banning Rojas, his coach, and the team doctors from football activities for life. The Chilean national team was also banned from playing in the 1990 and 1994 World Cups, and it remains the single most premeditated act of fraud in the history of football. And if you thought cheating was wild, wait until you see what some players have been doing with the ball at their feet. I'm talking about shots breaking goalposts, free kicks traveling faster than Lambos, and one rocket so violent it broke the laws of physics. And first, a rocket that gave birth to the FIFA Puskás Award. Manchester United were on the brink of Champions League elimination. Porto had scored 2 away goals, and the whole club was holding its breath. With everything on the line, Cristiano Ronaldo received the ball 45 yards from goal, looked up, and basically said, "Not today." The confidence to even consider it, the audacity to actually try it, and the sheer power generated from that distance.
He cue it here and let it play. And the ball comes into him here, he gets his head down. At that moment there, I'll never forget it. I tell my kids about this all the time. I was screaming here, no, no, no. No. Like, pass it, like. And when he hits it? Then when he hit it, it was like, wow, I'll show you the facials in a minute.
That goal forced FIFA to create the very first Puskás Award. But if you think that was outrageous, Zlatan was already loading up something even crazier. During the Champions League match between Anderlecht and PSG, Zlatan had already scored twice and was supposed to be done making a point. But when the Anderlecht defense thought they had him figured out, he hit them with this.
Strike from Ibrahimovic.
Damn, no wonder even the opposing fans stood up to applaud. But compared to what Roberto Carlos did next, Zlatan was just warming up. In a match between Barcelona and Real Madrid, the Barca players barely flinched when they gave away a free kick 35 yards out. Then they saw Carlos walking back and back and further back. And that is when they knew they had made a huge mistake.
Now Roberto Carlos will strike one from here. Oh, that is quite brilliant from Roberto Carlos. And inside the
that ball was hit with so much venom, the goalkeeper looked personally offended by it. But at least he had time to react. The next guy gave his keeper absolutely zero chance. During the Barclays Premier League era, John Arne Riise was basically walking around with a cannon strapped to his left foot. His free kicks alone earned him the nickname the Norwegian Carlos.
Needs to watch his step. It's going to be Riise.
But during a match between Liverpool and Manchester United, Alan Smith stepped out of the wall to try and block one of Riise's shots. It looked brave at first, until he started to scream. The replay showed the ball violently crashing into Smith's leg, resulting in a broken leg and a dislocated ankle.
He shouted me straight away and I sort of walked over to him. I've seen his ankle, so I've just got hold of his hand and I didn't want him to move just in case something might happen.
God, you know,
The ones that were shocked were Van der Sar and Gary Neville. They're the ones that showed the more, and then that's when we realised it was a bad one.
So, straight away, he laid down and put his hand up, went to the goalkeeper.
Bro tried to stop a missile with his shin. But even a career-ending shot like that is nothing compared to what comes next. During a 2005 Under-20s World Cup match between Ukraine and Panama, the Ukrainians won a free kick close to the center circle. The Panama players looked at the distance, shrugged, and did not even bother setting up a wall. That was possibly the worst decision any football team has ever made. Alexander Aliev took his steps back, ran up, and launched something that had absolutely no right going where it went. It now makes sense why he was nicknamed the right foot Roberto Carlos. But even a shot like this still couldn't make it to our top 20, because still to come is a shot that nearly bent the crossbar, a free kick that would get you arrested for in every country on earth, and a hit that defied the laws of physics. Before we get to those, however, we have to talk about the craziness Real Madrid did to the Italian champions. On the 3rd of October 2023, Real Madrid traveled to face Napoli, a team that had won the Serie A title with 5 games to spare. It was supposed to be a battle, and for a while it was, until Valverde got the ball, looked at the goal, and decided physics was not his problem. You could swear the man has a rocket launcher strapped to his right leg. That shot nearly bent the crossbar, and the goalkeeper had the nerve to act surprised. But while Valverde used his right foot, the next guy used something out of this world. During a K-League match between Suwon Blue Wings and Ulsan, the Ulsan defender spotted Eddie Bosnar standing over the ball and felt a little nervous. I thought they were overreacting. Then I saw this.
Now this one might surprise you. You see,
that free kick was the most powerful shot in K-League history. But hey, everybody, shh, quiet down, because at number 18, we've got a crazy shot that ruined Juventus' title celebrations. Juventus had just been crowned Serie A champions and came into this match against Inter with the champagne barely dry. But unknown to them, Raja Nainggolan had already been planning to spoil the party. Before the game, he told reporters he wanted to score against Juventus. 7 minutes in, a headed pass dropped into his path, and he did this. Damn, this guy might be the biggest hater ever. But while Nainggolan was running on pure hatred, the next one was running on something that looked closer to supernatural ability. With the match between Liverpool and Arsenal heading for a draw, an unlikely opportunity fell to Liverpool in the form of a free kick. With it being 32 yards away, everyone thought that scoring from that far out was impossible. But in Szoboszlai's world, impossible is non-existent.
Everyone else has taken their leave. Szoboszlai's hit! Oh yes! It is something very, very special from Dominik Szoboszlai!
The force on that shot is enough to power an entire neighborhood. But if you think that was fast, wait until you see the shot at number 16. During a Premier League match between Blackburn Rovers and Southampton, both teams had cancelled each other out and were seemingly content with a draw. But Blackburn midfielder Karim Tugay wasn't cut out for such a loser mentality. So when the ball was laid on a plate for him, he did this. The way that the goalkeeper looked confused, you could tell he knew the shot was unstoppable. But while Tugay's shot was unstoppable, the player at number 15 was probably an alien. During a match between AS Monaco and Galatasaray, Haji was tired of his teammates sticking up the place and decided to take matters into his own legs. You genuinely have to feel for the goalkeeper. No keeper on earth saves that. Not one. But even this absolute rocket does not prepare you for what Cristiano Ronaldo does next. In a match between Real Madrid and Osasuna, Cristiano Ronaldo received the ball a long distance from the goal. With the Osasuna defenders backing off, he decided to do what Ronaldo does best.
Away from him again, and he shoots. Oh, it's got in. A second goal. A thunderbolt from Ronaldo. Real Madrid are looking unbeatable.
Just look at the reaction of his teammates on the bench. They could not believe what they had just witnessed, and neither could anyone else in that stadium. But while Ronaldo's shot dropped jaws in the present, the next one changed the entire history of Barcelona. The 1991-1992 European Cup Final. Barcelona versus Sampdoria. 90 minutes of football and not a single goal. Extra time came and went, and with the entire history of the club resting on one last set piece 6 minutes from the end of extra time, Ronald Koeman stepped up, and the rest was history. Before the goalkeeper could even dive, the ball had already passed him like a flash. But while Koeman had a free kick set up for him, Victor Wanyama created his own magic out of absolutely nothing. In 2018, Tottenham traveled to take on Liverpool in a Premier League match. With Anfield being a fortress, no one really gave the North London boys any chance. But with 10 minutes left, a clearance dropped to Wanyama, and bro did not think twice.
Now with Eriksson, pushed out by Harris, and comes Wanyama! Oh, there is the ball from the blue. I was thinking, don't shoot from
For a man who barely scored goals in his career, that was one of the most outrageous strikes you will ever see from a defensive midfielder. But the shot at number 11 is about to make every shot on this list feel ordinary. If you grew up playing PES in the mid-2000s, you already know that Adriano was a cheat code. The man had a 99 shot power rating in the game, and somehow that was not even an exaggeration. On his debut for Inter against Real Madrid, he stepped up to a free kick at the edge of the box. New to the team, first big game, all eyes on him. And he hit the ball directly at the spot where Casillas was standing. But Casillas never moved because the ball had already ripped the net open before his brain could even send the signal to his legs. That is not a football shot. That is a weapon. But now that we've made it to the top 10, it's time to take things to a whole new level. I'm talking about a last-minute FA Cup rocket, a shot clocked at over 230 kilometers an hour, and a free kick that scientists have been arguing about. We will get to those eventually, but first, the Incredible Hulk switching from smashing walls to smashing balls. In a Brazilian league match between Atlético Mineiro and Santos, the Santos players knew they messed up when they conceded a free kick close to the box. And when you watch this, you'll understand why they were worried. The force with which that ball hit the frame of the goal, imagine if that was on someone's face. But the hit at number 9 won Manchester City the league. Towards the end of the 2018-2019 Premier League season, Manchester City had won 12 consecutive games to increase their chances of retaining the league title. But with 2 games of the season left, the pressure was at its highest. So when they faced Leicester City, they didn't seem like their usual selves. They struggled to create chances, and it seemed like they would drop points. But in the 70th minute, Vincent Kompany did the unthinkable.
from
his captain. Company perhaps will have a shot here as a dig! And how about that? How about that? Company gets his first of the season.
But at number 8, a player almost broke the goalpost. In a 1996 Premier League match between Arsenal and Sheffield Wednesday, the Gunners came under intense attack by the Wednesday players. After a badly cleared corner kick, the ball fell kindly for David Hirst, who rifled his shot against the crossbar.
Pressure not cleared. Oh, what a letter for Arsenal, David Hirst.
The ball was struck with so much power that you might miss it if it's not slowed down. The next one was voted the best goal of the 2006-2007 Premier League season, and once you see it, you will understand why.
With the most brilliant goal!
After a poorly cleared corner by Aston Villa, the loose ball fell into the path of Paul Scholes, who wasted no time in blasting it home.
In the second half, headed out by McCann. Paul Scholes!
That commentator is all of us right now. This reminds me of a last-minute rocket that won Liverpool the FA Cup. Liverpool faced West Ham in the 2006 FA Cup final and were somehow trailing 3-2 with seconds left on the clock.
Testing Rayner, who lost it, and it's Ashton Harewood wants it in the middle. Oh, it's lending his support down the left. Oh, it's in!
Hearts were breaking. The dream was dying. And then Gerrard picked up the ball from 35 yards out, and the rest was history.
That's Risa, tossed it towards Morientes. And then Gerrard!
Liverpool won the resulting shootout, and the game was renamed the Gerrard Final.
It's Ferdinand, saved again by
And with that banger, we've made it to our top 5. Fasten your seatbelts and get your popcorn ready, because things are about to get explosive, starting with the fastest recorded goal in the Dutch League. In the match between PSV and ADO Den Haag, the ball was played in the path of Ibrahim Sangare, and he hit it like he was trying to send it to another continent. Damn, even the PSV coach on the sideline could not process what he had just seen. But as insane as that was, Tony Yeboah did something that makes Sangare's effort look like a casual kickabout. During a match between Leeds and Wimbledon, Tony Yeboah picked up a loose ball in the Wimbledon half, danced past a defender, and then unleashed something that still does not look real even decades later. We genuinely feel your pain, goalkeeper. We really do. But at number 3, a player fired a shot clocked at 190 kilometers per hour.
Ich muss einfach sagen, ich bin nur dankbar. Sehr, sehr dankbar.
Jetzt macht sein Tor! Und die will selber machen! Und macht die! Robben! Ein unfassbares Tor! Robben! Robben! Robben!
Arjen Robben spent his entire career being famous for cutting inside and curling it into the far corner with his left foot. Defenders knew it was coming. They still couldn't stop it. But what most people forget is that the man also carried a grenade in that same left foot when he needed to use it. And if you think I'm exaggerating, just watch this.
A Pepe, saca el córner Kaká. Ha despejado Momoyera y golazo de Robben.
He hit the ball so true, it would pass a lie detector test. Yes, I went there. And yes, Jurgen Klopp was watching from the dugout with his jaw on the floor. But even 190 kilometers per hour is not enough for the top two on this list, because Jaime Mandrali hit something that engineers had to actually do the math on. In the match between Schalke 04 and 1860 Munich, Schalke won a free kick 40 meters from the goal. Everyone expected a cross. Everyone except Jaime Mandrali. He took a long run up, connected, and released something so fast the cameraman physically could not keep up with the ball. It was later calculated that the shot was traveling at over 230 kilometers per hour. Damn, just a man, a ball, and the laws of physics being completely disrespected. But even 230 kilometers per hour is not number one, because what Roberto Carlos did to France is still the most scientifically terrifying shot ever recorded. In a match between Brazil and France, the Brazilians got a free kick 40 yards away from the French goal. Because of the distance, the French wall stood so far back that they practically needed a passport to get there. But what happened next took everyone by surprise. The goalkeeper was completely convinced the ball was going out. Then it bent. Then it dipped. Then it was in the net. You can watch this free kick 50 times and still not fully believe what you're seeing. If Einstein were alive today, he would genuinely struggle to explain that one. And if you thought these shots were disrespectful, wait until you see what some players have been doing from corner kicks. I'm talking about playground routines. Players scoring directly from corner kicks. These are the 25 most humiliating penalty kicks in football history. And first up, a penalty that was voted as one of the best goals of the 2024 La Liga season.
Momento de inflexión en el partido y yo creo que en la temporada.
Damn, bro really scored and celebrated a penalty without even looking. He might be Lisan Al-Gaib. But even such divine confidence is nothing compared to the goalkeeper who humiliated himself at number 24. In a match between PSV and Heracles, Jis Hornkamp straight up made the keeper shit himself before coolly slotting the ball in the opposite direction.
Heel rustig. Hij fopt de doelman van PSV.
He even got his rivals complaining about how humiliating that penalty was. You genuinely cannot make this sport up. But what Amad Diallo did at number 23 shouldn't have been shown on live TV. With the entire world watching, Manchester United's Amad Diallo chose the perfect opportunity to show everyone just how cold he really is.
Unique run-up from Amad, that's for certain. He beats it. He anchors it. I mean, that's the cheekiest of all the cheeky.
Yeah, you could tell he just wanted to humiliate that goalkeeper. But at number 22, the football gods personally intervened to teach someone a lesson in humility. This player hits the crossbar, and before the ball has even decided what it wants to do next, the goalkeeper is already sprinting toward him to laugh in their face. Unfortunately, karma struck back instantly as the ball bounced back into an empty net. Yeah, the football gods do have a great sense of humor. But But even divine comedy couldn't prepare you for the heartbreak that comes next. After 50 years of waiting for an AFCON title, the hopes of Moroccans came down to one final spot kick. Brahim Diaz versus Mendy. But instead of blasting the ball into a corner, Diaz broke Moroccan hearts by doing the unthinkable.
The card is out. Well, he's in trees, you would imagine, the first time. Certainly not wishing him good luck, that's for sure. It's Diaz, and he thinks it straight at Mendy. A woeful penalty. Absolutely woeful.
Damn, getting humiliated while trying to aura farm is one of the worst things that can happen to anyone. But none of that chaos and heartbreak could crack our top 20, because from here on, these penalties stop being funny and start becoming genuinely legendary. I'm talking about a goalkeeper dancing, Onana embarrassing himself, and one of the worst misses you'll ever see. Before we get to those, however, we have to see Neymar ruining a goalkeeper's career. I know penalties are serious business, but it doesn't hurt to have a little bit of fun sometimes. When Neymar was about to take this penalty, he asked the keeper to choose which corner he wanted it played.
Ah là, vous avez vu le geste de désolation de Lucas Pira.
Pointing to his right, the keeper chose to dive in the opposite direction. The keeper literally chose his own fate and still got it wrong. And at number 19, a goalkeeper tried the exact same thing and somehow ended up in an even worse situation. You would think goalkeepers would have a group chat where they warn each other about the consequences of starting mind games they aren't equipped to finish. This one clearly wasn't in that group chat. Damn, I would have thrown hands if a player did me dirty like this. You can't just stand there and accept such humiliation like a parking ticket. At number 18, however, Memphis Depay tried to be cool in a Brazilian derby, only to be humbled unexpectedly. Corinthians versus Palmeiras, one of the most intense derbies in South American football, and Memphis Depay steps up to the spot, radiating the energy of a man who has scored 1,000 of these and will score 1,000 more. He begins his run-up with complete confidence and then slips. Not a little stumble you can recover from with dignity. A full slip that sends the ball absolutely nowhere near the goal while the keeper watches from a safe distance. Yeah, you have to feel bad for him at this point. But at number 17, a goalkeeper used his eyes as a weapon. When Mason Holgate was about to take his penalty, the goalkeeper gave him a death stare. It was so intense that you could see Holgate's confidence physically leaving his body. His run-up gets slower, his shoulders drop, and then he kicks the ball straight at the goalkeeper. I genuinely cannot tell you whether that goalkeeper practiced some form of dark energy or just had really good eyes. But whatever it was, it needs to be studied by scientists immediately. But at number 16, a goalkeeper's celebration came back to destroy him in the most satisfying way imaginable. Yassine Bono dives the right way and saves Haaland's penalty. But Bono didn't just celebrate, he sprinted after Haaland, screaming as if he just won a trophy. And then VAR said encroachment. Retake. The stadium went quiet. Bono had to walk back to his line in complete silence, carrying the full weight of what his mouth had just gotten him into. Haaland placed the ball on the spot, looked at him, and played it to the exact same side with the same power and the same result. then walked directly to Bono and gave him every single thing back with interest. But at number 15, Andre Onana tried to be entertaining during a penalty shootout, and Fabio Vieira had absolutely no patience for the performance. The preseason friendly between Arsenal and Manchester United went to a mandatory penalty shootout, despite Arsenal winning 2-1 on the night. Andre Onana, who was in the mood for some fun, decided to mess with Arsenal's Fabio Vieira. As the Arsenal player prepared to take his spot kick, Onana moved to his right while pointing to his left. Vieira, who was in no mood for games, sent Onana to the dry cleaners with his spot kick. But just when you thought you'd seen it all, the most unhinged goalkeeper in the world showed up, and somehow it worked. Australia versus Peru, a World Cup spot on the line. Every kick worth a lifetime of either glory or regret. And substitute goalkeeper Andrew Redmayne decided that this was the perfect moment to completely abandon his sanity.
It's all on this for Peru. Alex Valera. Makes the save. It's a save that means the...
Before the penalty, he was doing full interpretive dance routines on his line. Arms going everywhere, hips swinging, legs kicking in directions that have no business existing in a high-stakes football match. The man looked like he was auditioning for Dancing with the Stars at the most important moment of Australian football history. And when the decisive penalty came, the Peruvian player was so thoroughly confused by whatever Redmayne was doing that he missed completely. You can laugh. You should laugh. But it worked, and that is the most terrifying sentence in this entire video. But at number 13, Paul Pogba turned his penalty run-up into a masterclass in psychological torture. Under 20 World Cup, France versus Uruguay, and Paul Pogba steps up to take his penalty, moving at a pace that can only be described as a man who has nowhere to be and nothing to prove.
Nonchalant run-up, which he looks like he's doing again here. Diamores waits. Pogba strikes it into the bottom corner.
This felt like a leisurely stroll through a Sunday market. No urgency, no tension. The goalkeeper had been crouched and ready and primed for about 45 seconds by the time Pogba arrived at the ball. By the time he played the ball, the goalkeeper had already given up. But at number 12, Sergio Ramos tried something audacious, and what followed was genuinely disgraceful to witness. In the UEFA Nations League match between Switzerland and Spain, the Spaniards desperately needed a goal, and that opportunity came when they were given a penalty. Sergio Ramos, who had scored his last 25 penalties in a row, stepped up to take it and missed.
The man of the moment, the milestone maker for Spain, is denied.
Somehow, Spain got a second penalty. You would think one miss from 25 would inspire some humility. But Ramos decides this moment calls for a panenka.
His Spain debut, the European record holder this time, and he's fluffed his second spot kick.
Unfortunately, Sommer had already studied him, so he pretends to dive, stops, and watches Ramos's chip drift gently into his gloves at roughly the speed of a balloon on a calm day. But the next goalkeeper literally asked to be humiliated, and the penalty taker somehow chose not to oblige. Porto versus Maritimo. And before Telles takes the penalty, the opposition goalkeeper says out loud, "Come on, you're a big player, chip me." He is sincerely requesting to be disrespected. He is extending a formal written invitation to be embarrassed in front of thousands of people.
Vai ter nos pés a possibilidade de marcar. Autoriza o árbitro Rui Costa.
But Tellez missed the opportunity to do the most insane thing ever. Or maybe he didn't believe he was a big player. But now that we've made it to our top 10, it's time to take things to a whole new level. I'm talking about the greatest Panenka in history, Zlatan embarrassing a goalkeeper, and the legendary beef between Main and Salah. Before we get to those, however, Onana is back with another gimmick at number 10.
Of something really special.
He writes his own rules.
Andre Onana had clearly decided that his shuffling goalkeeper gimmick was his gift to the sport, and he was going to keep giving it regardless of who was standing on the penalty spot. So when Erling Haaland stepped up, Onana launched into the full routine.
Oh my God. Hell no.
Haaland tilted his head slightly and then sent the ball the opposite way, without acknowledging that any of what Onana was doing had registered in his brain at all.
Onana saying, you know, play at that side. That's the way you're going to have to go because I'm standing here.
Erling Haaland against Onana. No problem.
The look on Haaland's face afterwards wasn't angry or amused or satisfied. It was just genuinely confused. Like he was still trying to work out what he just witnessed and whether it required any further thought.
I did it, so it's unbelievable.
At number 9, however, a player completely broke a goalkeeper's entire operating system. As this player made his run up to take the penalty, everyone expected him to blast the ball into one of the corners. Instead, he completely deceived the goalkeeper by kicking it with his other leg. But while this player messed with this goalkeeper's confidence, the next goalkeeper took comedy to a whole new level. Joselu is about to take a penalty, and Ter Stegen decides to perform what can only be described as a full stretching and mobility routine on his goal line. Joselu watched all of this with patience and sent the ball straight down the middle. I genuinely hope his flexibility improved because his dignity certainly didn't survive the afternoon. At number 7, however, Van Dijk was handed a trap, recognized it immediately, and used it to destroy the man who set it. Kepa thought he had hacked a cheat code in saving penalties. He moved to the right-hand side of the goalpost in a bid to trick Van Dijk into playing the ball to his left. But Van Dijk showed him he was smarter by playing the ball right where he was standing.
Centre-half, Virgil van Dijk to take the next. And Van Dijk left nothing to chance. Well, for a game that was 0-0 after 2 hours of football, the penalty...
Speaking of goalkeepers standing, Andrea Pirlo introduced Joe Hart to the concept that confidence without wisdom is just noise. Euro 2012, England versus Italy, and Joe Hart was in the form of his life, and he absolutely knew it. As Andrea Pirlo stood over the ball, Hart was practically vibrating with energy, tongue out, arms waving, bouncing across his line, making as much noise and movement as one human being is physically capable of generating. Pirlo watched all of this, let Hart finish his entire performance, and then chipped the ball into the dead center of the goal in the most ice-cold Panenka you will ever see in your life.
He misses, this country will be in trouble. Jiggling up and down on the line. This is Pirlo. Oh, how cheeky is that? The float.
Do you want salt with that chip, Joe? And now that we've reached the top 5, the penalties aren't just humiliating anymore. These are moments that changed football history, rewrote rule books, and settled rivalries. Starting with the penalty style so devastatingly effective that FIFA had to sit in a room and formally make it illegal.
Hey yo, what the f? I'm gonna lose my shit!
When Neymar was coming through at Santos, he was already operating on a different frequency to every other footballer on the planet. And during that period, he developed a penalty technique that was frankly unfair to everyone involved. He would approach the ball normally and then pause mid-strike in a way that forced the goalkeeper to commit before the ball moved. And once the keeper committed, it was already over. 5 consecutive penalties, 5 goals, 5 different goalkeepers. Same result every single time. The videos went viral and eventually reached the people at FIFA, who watched them, convened a meeting, reviewed the technique, and put it to a vote to ban it for life. At number 4, however, a goalkeeper chose to mess with Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Wrong move. Inter Milan versus AC Milan derby, and Julio Cesar is absolutely fired up because Ibrahimovic is stepping up to take a penalty. So Cesar does something remarkably bold and walks straight up to Zlatan and tells him to his face, "I know where you're going. You're playing it down the middle," doing the full psychological warfare routine, trying to get into the big man's head.
Swinging for Inter Milan.
It's a massive moment in a war of words, mind games from Julio Cesar.
Well, these guys hate each other, Inter and AC.
Zlatan listens to all of this, doesn't react, doesn't blink, doesn't smile, just stares forward, places the ball, steps back, runs up, and plays it straight down the middle. Then turns to Cesar and says, "Speak now, you clown."
This in the Milan derby, Ibrahimovic, no doubt about it. 27 goals in Serie A and none.
But either way, it's just positive. There's that little cachicazo, the slap that Zlatan loves to give everyone.
But where Cesar failed with his antics, Emi Martinez pulled off a psychological masterclass. Copa America semifinal, Argentina versus Colombia. It goes to penalties, and Emiliano Martinez decides this shootout is his personal stage, and Yerry Mina is his opening act. The moment Mina picks up the ball, Martinez is already in his face, talking trash until Mina misses. I genuinely cannot decide who talks more, Martinez during a penalty shootout or my girlfriend when I've done something wrong and she's walking me through exactly why. The energy is identical. But at number 2, Salah chose the biggest stage to snitch on his teammate. The 2021 AFCON final between Egypt and Senegal was expected to be insane. Maine versus Salah, 2 African giants going head-to-head. 5 minutes into the match, Egypt conceded a penalty. As Sadio Mane prepared to take his spot kick, his Liverpool teammate Mo Salah walked up to his goalkeeper and told him where Mane would play it. Upset by this move, Mane also tried to mess with the keeper by pointing in the same direction. But the Egyptian goalkeeper was already locked in.
A much bigger penalty now, and it is Senegal who missed the opportunity and a wonderful save from Abu Gaba.
However, Mane wasn't about to let his teammate get one over him. So when the match went to a penalty shootout, he stepped up and blasted in the last spot kick that won Senegal the trophy.
Now, Salah can't bear to watch. Mane! Senegal are African champions!
But now, it's time for the most humiliating penalty kick in history. The 2021-22 season, and Karim Benzema is on another planet. He's destroying every team in Europe. He's hunting down the Ballon d'Or. He is arguably the best player in the world, and Real Madrid are the most feared club on the continent. Then they travel to Osasuna, not Barcelona, not Bayern Munich, Osasuna. And their goalkeeper decides today is the day he becomes a legend. 51st minute, Benzema steps up. The keeper points left, then dives right to save it.
Up steps Benzema, and he saved it! He saves it again. So, Osasuna...
Fine, these things happen even to the greatest players. You regroup, you move on, you let your teammates handle the next one. Except 7 minutes later, Real Madrid get another penalty, and Benzema steps up again. The same goalkeeper reads him again, saves it again, in the same match, 7 minutes apart.
He is right. Up steps, Benzema saved it! And he saves it again. So, Osasuna stay just one goal behind Real Madrid.
As a result, Benzema became the first player to miss 2 penalties in a single La Liga match since 2006. And it wasn't against a Champions League giant or a derby rival. It was one goalkeeper on one ordinary afternoon who simply decided that the best player in the world was not scoring past him today. And that is why it is the most humiliating penalty moment in football history. But as humiliating as these penalty moments were, they are absolutely nothing compared to what some of these players are putting on their plates. Click on the next video to find out what football players really eat, because some of these meals are honestly more shocking than anything you just watched.